Yo, what's up YouTube? This is Gresnick and welcome to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to TheAMaazing, Growing Up Brown slash Desi. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not very sure. Trying not to be rude. I have been watching TheAMaazing for a long time, long before I started reacting. Which wasn't that long ago. It's been maybe a year. I don't know when I started actually at this point. I'm pretty sure he made a video similar to this a long while ago, and I remember watching it. But as always, I'm excited to see what TheAMaazing gives us today. So as always, like and subscribe to TheAMaazing and myself. Comment down below anything you want me to react to, how your day's going, and what you think on the video. And let's get into this.
There's a cabinet above the kitchen stove that was expressly forbidden for me to open. I'm allowed to glance at it, sure, but try to reach out to open it? A fool's errand. What lay
What's
inside, you ask? Dishes that were reserved only for guests. What?
Oh.
But Dad, there aren't any other dishes left. No, beta, we have to keep them for guests, just in case. Just in case? Dad, we haven't used them in years. If we're gonna save them up for guests, we need to invite them? Please, I just want one cup, please. Just a single cup. I apologize for my transgressions. Growing up in a Desi household isn't for the weak.
The guest dishes. We don't have any sort of guest dishes in my house. It's just the dishes. We have a lot of them. And the guests use the same ones we normally use. Yeah, we don't have anything like that. But there's a lot of people. I know a couple of people who do. For some reason. Don't know why. Unless if they're like specifically fancy. Well, we're too poor for that, so nah.
But I loved every second of it. I've sprinkled in tidbits about my cultural upbringing in the last few videos, but I realized that aside from my experiences with casual racism and hating my culture and, the usual stuff, I haven't really talked about the positive experiences of growing up with my Pakistani culture in a Western country. So I have a pretty small immediate family. I had my parents and my two younger brothers, one who's 1 year younger and another who's 10 years younger. That's right. My family has exponential age differences between our siblings. Wait until you hear about the 100-year younger brother. My parents are both the first doctors in their respective families. They trained in Pakistan, harvested my brother and I from the ground, or at least that's what they told me, and for complex personal reasons, they decided to move to many different countries, dragging us boys along. With how busy my parents were with their early jobs and traveling, I don't remember spending too much time with them in my very early childhood. A lot of my memories are either with Okasa, who was this older Japanese nanny who lived next door, who absolutely adored me, or it was with my very extended family who took turns taking care of me. The Mars Pakistani extended family is absolutely huge, and yes, you should take that as a threat. 10% of my subscribers are blood relatives. My mom is one of 7 siblings, and my dad is one of 13. And each of the uncles and aunties have like 5 children each, so the actual number of family members balloon out super fast. Man, the Desi urge to harvest children goes crazy. I distinctly remember how much fun it was growing up with so many cousins. Specifically, wedding events and parties were absolutely insane. There's this tradition that we have of everybody staying in one house, like Shadi Ka Ghar, in the days leading up to the wedding. Despite there being like 100 plus cousins, we weren't no quitters, and so we clown card ourselves into the house as much as possible, playing games, sharing stories, and it was just exactly as chaotic as you're imagining. Are, bring out the guest dishes, just in case. Oh no, not you too. I just want 1 cup. The main downside of visiting our extended family in Pakistan, though, was the food poisoning. Trust me when I say, genuinely trust me when I say the food is so good, bro. But the thing is, some of the best food available is street cuisine. So I would get some snacks, some chane, some fruit from the market. And then every single time, it would destroy me. Because it wasn't even a matter of if we would get food poisoning, it was a matter of when. All of my immediate family got it every single time. And having just gone back there recently, I can confirm this is still true. The only other thing that's scary to me, especially being a doctor that's the son of 2 other doctors, was that unfortunately, almost all of my aunts and uncles have some sort of diabetes or heart problems, which means that I'm at high risk of those just for being born with my genetics. I guess when you're this gifted, you gotta get brought down somehow. I diagnose you with type 2 diabetes.
You got the
Oh,
debuff
man.
there.
Here's your prescription. And you got another letter. Again? So here's a funny tangent story. So I, type A Dr. Man, am always neurotic with my emails. Even if I get a single unread email, I must get rid of it. But
So you
Name,
check your
my
emails?
wife, she has over 30,000 unread emails. I don't even know how to
So
do
I
that.
just click the
It
delete
actually
all
takes
button,
way more effort
and
to get that
never
many
look at them.
emails. And so imagine my genuine relief when I found Clean
I
Fox, who
couldn't
then
even
reached out to
smell
sponsor
the
this
ad.
game. Clean Fox is an extremely reputable, extremely popular
I-
email and spam
yeah, I
cleaner that's
couldn't see
available
it
worldwide
coming.
in 30 different countries. Okay, that's right. Spending comments below.
Use his code or whatever to support him. I don't care. It's not my video. I'm reacting, so I will be respectful.
To give Clean Fox a try. Now, where were we? Okay, that's right. Spending time with my extended family. The sad thing is, I used to visit my family yearly before COVID happened, and for obvious reasons, I couldn't keep up with that tradition after the fact. I absolutely adore my cousins, they're all super personable in their own way, and seeing my parents get absolutely roasted by my uncles and aunts would be so funny to me.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, Jesus Christ. How many cousins do I have? Uh, how many cousins do I know I have? I, like, don't know any of them from my father's side of the family, or I can, like, barely remember who they are. But I definitely know my mother's side of the family. I have, I think it's 6 now, which is too many. I don't need that many. I feel like 10, yeah, maybe like 10 years ago, I only had 3.
Like, they were unlocking parts of them that I hadn't even heard about before. It was also them that kept me in touch with my Pakistani culture, the etiquette, and most importantly, my mother tongue of Urdu. My parents always spoke Urdu to each other and to us when growing up, so I've always been able to understand it just fine. But when it came to learning Arabic for reading the Holy Scripture, or Japanese for when I lived in Japan, or English is now my 4th but dominant language,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, Urdu fell by the wayside. I did try to use it as much as possible around the house, but despite my best efforts, I always sounded like the memes of the American-born confused Desis, or I guess in my case, the Australian-born confused Desis. Like, mujhe very cool ho rahi hai. My toxic trait though is that I always think that I'm better than I am, until I got absolutely humbled this one time when I was in an Uber and it was a Pakistani uncle who was driving. Oh, actually, before we continue, an important tidbit of cultural context. We call any older men or women in the community uncle and auntie as a sign of respect. Not that they're related to us. I have no relation to this Uber driver. Maz is a pretty common Pakistani name, so he immediately switches to Urdu to talk to me. As we continue this conversation, I think I'm doing a really good job. We're having a good vibe. But then my guy switches back to English because my Urdu must have been that bad. What a die.
Oh.
That's like my 15th reason. My parents did try to teach me all this, even to a point where I lived natively in Pakistan for a year or two, which definitely did plant the seeds for speaking Urdu and keeping in touch with my culture, even when we were living in New Zealand and Australia. Despite my family being busy with their work, they always made it a point to spend family time together and ensure that we kept our traditions alive. Like, for example, Ludo. This is a classic game in Pakistan, and it goes by different names all around the world, like Pachisi, Uckers, Fia, Parchis, and so on and so forth. This is a game about going around the board and slaying your foes, aka your family members, along the way. And my family have been absolutely decimating each other in it for about a decade now. And as with any good game, we've got a ton of house rules to keep things spicy, like stacking dice rolls or having 2 dice to allow for greater flexibility in movement.
If I don't know how to play this game. I've never heard of it in English. Gun.
And,
I know.
well, in-game murder. True to my taking games too seriously mindset, I had manually calculated the probability of landing each numerical value possible and had it pinned on my phone whenever I played Ludo. And yet I would still
You
lose.
sound terrible. Oh, no.
I genuinely loved playing Ludo with my family. We still do play it to this day, and it's one of the best bonding experiences I've had throughout my childhood. And the amount of times that this game nearly broke our family apart is innumerable. Great game, highly recommend
I
it.
love games
In between
that
my
do
mum and dad's busy shifts were functions or dawats, which to simplify things is a gathering of our local Pakistani community for a social dinner. These dawats happen relatively frequently, and I suspect it was my parents' way of recuperating after work, which is why they insisted on having guest dishes in our kitchen just in case. What do you mean, just in case? Do you think 20 people are gonna show up without any notice? Come on, Dad! I'm gonna be so honest, when I was growing up, these events were super boring to me. At first, mum and dad usually went to their respective circles of uncles and aunties, and I was left to just bide my time and fester about having to go to these events. Then I realized the other kids were just as nerdy as me, so we spent the entire time playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, chasing each other in the underground, and setting up our own bases. Actually goated game and goated experience. Another highlight of these events were the food. Bro, I'm telling you, basic cuisine already hits like nothing else, but then you get these multiple buffet-style davits that almost always had amazing food. Mwah, wajiwa, beautiful. The food tasted so good, almost certainly because of the amount of oil added on. Come on, let's not even lie about that. Oh, I'm definitely going to get heart disease, aren't I? Now, if you've grown up as a Desi person in any country, you know I have to bring up cricket. This damn sport was everywhere when I was growing up. My family in Pakistan played it. Out. The functions all talked about it. Out. Heck, even my brother played it. Out! I personally wasn't as invested as the others were. Like, I used to watch some of the international matches, maybe the T20s, and know some players here and there. More so a conversation starter for me more than anything else. Unless the match was between
Oh, my brain is being running on like 2 ping. What is it called? What? I've had this game be this. I have to pause and come back. I'm back. I can't believe I've heard this game just be described to me like it's kind of like baseball. I think I couldn't think of the word baseball. My brain is fried. I've heard this be described to me just like kind of like a weird baseball, I think.
Pakistan and India. There is literally a Wikipedia article about this because of how deep this runs. I'm convinced that all Pakistani and Indian people are sleeper agents for specifically this matchup. For those who aren't in the know, and for those who haven't read the Wikipedia page, these two teams have a fierce rivalry that spans decades, which culminates in an anime-level match between them every single time it happens. And for whatever reason, it activates the patriotic neurons for Pakistani and Indian people whenever it happens. Like, my dad doesn't care that much about cricket. He's a casual watcher like me in that way. He says he doesn't have the energy to watch it after work, you know, it's not even that interesting, and Papa, it's Pakistan versus India. All I have ever dreamt about is cricket. My life is cricket. I love cricket so much. I will defend Pakistan. Grape. Despite the meme though, I love the adrenaline and hype that would get into the community whenever it was happening. I liked being part of the overall atmosphere, cheering along with everybody. Or booing, come on, let's be so for real, it's the Pakistani cricket team. With that being said though, watching them play was not good for me and my blood pressure. You think I'm being very funny, like, oh, that's a gag.
Oh, no.
It genuinely got so heated at times that older uncles in the community refused to watch Pakistan versus India because it was bad for their heart disease, which is terrifying for my future.
Brother,
After years of growing up with my immediate family, extended family, and local community, fast forward to when it was finally time for me to head off to medical school. I was the eldest boy, and this was all brand new for my parents, so my dad opted to come with me to help unpack. And although it sounds terrible, I viscerally remember how annoyed I was at the time. Me moving out was finally the opportunity that I had to be independent, to learn about my own identity, about who I was as a person, to settle the conflicting Pakistani and Western debate that had been going on in my head. I just wanted to get away from all this pressure and suffocating environment, and my dad, he was still there. I just had one more night, you know, one more night, and then he'll fly out. And then I'll be free. And it was at that moment, as we're laying in bed on the last night before flying back, that my father started to share a story with me. Maz, for as long as I can remember, I've been working for my family. First, we moved to Japan, spent uncountable hours to get our PhDs, but still weren't able to get a decent opportunity there. Then we moved over to New Zealand, but because of issues with our qualifications, we had to start over from scratch. Australia provided more opportunities, but we still had to scrape by for rent and income. I even had to live away from my own family to make ends meet, to keep our family afloat. I'm not ashamed to have given up this much for my family, but my biggest regret is that by the time that I was finally done, you were already 18 and about to move out. I didn't get enough time with my eldest son, and now that you're leaving, I'll never get this time again. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there for you as much as I wanted as a father. I love you so much.
Oh no, you had the canon event where you get to see your dad cry. Oh no. Oh god. Well, I wasn't expecting to get punched in the feels today. Happy Easter, everybody. Oh yeah, I'm recording this on Easter. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video. I wasn't expecting to get I wasn't expecting to get punched in my feels today. That's fun. Yeah, it's sad how often that ends up happening though. I'm choking on my tea. Yeah, man, making me tear up over here. Got that canon event where you get to see your dad cry.
And that's when I saw my dad cry for one of the very few times in my entire life.
Oh, phew, you get
I
to
just
have
started bawling
multiple.
my eyes out, just awash with guilt. And oddly, I think closure.
I'm
He was
dying over
speaking
here.
about something I had noticed in the back of my head, which I hadn't managed to unpack and address. But despite that, here was my dad taking that first step, allowing us to share a father son moment right before he left. My dad
Hmm.
flew the very next day, but that moment completely recontextualized everything for me. I grew up with my own perspective, but when I look back and reflect on it, I don't think I could ever do what my parents did. Starting over in a brand new country where you don't even know the language and trying to find work that's enough to sustain your young family? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? And it's not just about
insane.
establishing a monetary foundation for the family, is it? They had to leave their own parents, brothers, sisters, and their village behind to work tirelessly, all to provide their children with the opportunity that they so desperately wished they and their family had. And I think my parents made that sacrifice knowing that yes, it would take time away from their own children, but with the faith that it would be worth it in the long run. I cherish the childhood that I've had, and I'm grateful for the struggles that my mum and dad went through to be able to afford us these opportunities in a brand new country. I love you so much, mum and dad. And
Mm.
eventually, when I get my own place to decorate
Oh
and to
no.
start my own family, I'll be sure to have a set of guest dishes and plates ready for whenever they come around. Just in.
You just had to wrap this back around to the beginning. Really, really, dude. You had to. Okay, yeah, this was meaningful and sad, and then you come back to this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, fun. Oh no, the guest dishes. I could never have specifically guest dishes because I don't have people come over. That doesn't happen. That barely happens in my family at all. There's like the rare somebody comes over for Thanksgiving, or I think we go over to my one of my grandparents' house for Christmas every year. So yeah, it doesn't happen often though. No one comes here. We don't have guest dishes. I'm back to the whole guest dishes
Case.
thing. And that's just the ending. Oh look, fan art. Mmm. I'm good video. I enjoyed this one. Getting to hear about Ma's backstory time is nice. Hmm. Good video. As always, Maz always delivers a good watching experience. So, as always, like and subscribe to him, myself, and myself. What? My brain's fried. Comment down below. Comment down below anything you want me to react to, how you're doing, what you feel about this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.